Stay with me, please. Please stay with me. I'm trying.
Poor Orphan helped a dying old man unaware he's the billionaire's father. Distinguished viewers, welcome to Luxury True Life Stories. Please like and subscribe for more amazing real-life luxury stories. Now, let's get into the story. Jennifer Clement was a kind-hearted young woman whose peaceful life came to an end after her beloved father passed away following a long illness. With no relatives willing to help, she was left in the care of her cold and selfish stepmother, Cecilia, who quickly revealed her true nature. The once warm home became a place of constant hardship, where Jennifer was treated more like a servant than a daughter. Every day, Cecilia forced Jennifer to clean the house from morning until night, refusing to show her any kindness or appreciation. Despite the cruelty, Jennifer remained humble, believing that patience and hard work would one day lead her to a better future. She quietly endured the pain, holding on to the values her father had taught her before he died. As the days passed, Cecilia's hatred only grew stronger, and Jennifer sensed that something even worse was coming. She had no idea that her life was about to change forever, setting her on a journey filled with hardship, unexpected encounters, and a destiny she could never have imagined. Before sunrise, Cecilia ordered Jennifer to pack her few belongings into a worn-out bag. Without showing the slightest compassion, she declared that Jennifer was no longer welcome in the house and accused her of being nothing but a burden. Ignoring Jennifer's pleas, Cecilia pushed her out the front door, locked it behind her, and left her standing alone with nowhere to go. With tears in her eyes, Jennifer walked through unfamiliar streets, carrying only her small bag and the memories of her father. She searched everywhere for work, but every employer turned her away because she had no experience or permanent address. As evening approached, exhaustion and hunger overwhelmed her, yet she refused to give up, believing that every difficult season would eventually come to an end. That night, Jennifer found shelter beneath the roof of an abandoned wooden shed on the edge of the city. Curled up against the cold, she silently prayed for strength and a chance to rebuild her life. Unknown to her, this painful new beginning was leading her toward a destiny that would change not only her future but the lives of many others. The following morning, Jennifer woke before sunrise, determined not to let despair define her future. She spent the entire day walking from one business to another, politely asking if anyone needed help. After countless rejections, the manager of a small cleaning company noticed her sincerity and offered her a low-paying job cleaning offices and apartment buildings. Though the salary was modest, Jennifer accepted immediately, grateful for the opportunity to earn an honest living. Jennifer worked tirelessly, arriving early and finishing every task with care. Her supervisors admired her dedication, while a few co-workers encouraged her to stay hopeful despite her difficult circumstances. With her first wages, she rented a tiny, run-down hut on the outskirts of the city. It was far from comfortable, but for Jennifer, it was a place she could finally call home. Each evening, Jennifer returned to her little hut physically exhausted but emotionally stronger than before. She promised herself that no matter how difficult life became, she would never lose her kindness or integrity. She had no way of knowing that an ordinary night after work would soon place her on a path that would change her destiny forever. Across the city, Billionaire CEO Daniel Pascal was overwhelmed with worry after his father, Charles Pascal, suddenly disappeared without a trace. Despite hiring private investigators and alerting the authorities, every search ended in disappointment. Charles had seemingly vanished, leaving Daniel desperate for answers. As the days passed, Daniel barely focused on his business, determined to find his father at any cost. His staff continued searching hospitals, shelters, and public places, but no one had seen Charles. The mystery deepened, and hope slowly began to fade. Meanwhile, unaware that an entire city was searching for him, Charles wandered the streets alone, growing weaker with each passing day. His fate was about to cross paths with someone who had no idea who he truly was. Jennifer settled into her daily routine, working long hours as a cleaner and returning each night to her small hut. Though life remained difficult, she treated everyone with kindness and earned the respect of those around her. She hoped that one day her hard work would lead to a better future. At the same time, Charles continued wandering through the city alone. Weak from hunger and exhaustion, he refused to ask anyone for help, believing he could find his way home. With every passing day, however, his strength faded, and his condition became more serious. As night fell after another exhausting shift, Jennifer began her walk home through the quiet streets. She had no idea that before the night ended, she would make a decision that would change her life forever. As Jennifer walked home late that night, she noticed an elderly man lying motionless beside the roadside. She rushed to him and realized he was unconscious and burning with fever. Looking around for help but finding no one, she refused to leave him behind. Using all her strength, Jennifer managed to support the old man and slowly took him to her small hut. She cleaned his wounds, gave him water, and used the little medicine she had left from her own savings, hoping he would recover. Jennifer never imagined that the helpless stranger she had rescued was Charles Pascal, the missing father of billionaire CEO Daniel Pascal. While the city continued searching for him, he was safely resting under the roof of a poor orphan who knew nothing about his true identity. The following morning, Charles slowly opened his eyes and found himself lying on a simple wooden bed inside a tiny hut. Confused and weak, he looked around the room before Jennifer gently handed him a cup of warm soup. She assured him that he was safe and told him she had found him unconscious by the roadside the previous night. Grateful but still exhausted, Charles thanked her for saving his life, though he struggled to remember how he had ended up there. Jennifer continued caring for him despite having very little for herself. She prepared simple meals, bought medicine with part of her small salary, and made sure he rested comfortably before leaving for work each morning. Before heading out, she would leave food and water within his reach and ask a kind elderly neighbor to check on him while she was away. Charles was deeply touched by her generosity, realizing she was sacrificing the little she had for a complete stranger. As the days passed, Charles gradually regained his strength and began noticing Jennifer's humble lifestyle. He saw how hard she worked, how carefully she managed every coin she earned, and how she never complained despite her struggles. The more he observed her kindness and honesty, the more he admired her, never imagining that fate had placed him in the care of the very person who would soon change the Pascal family's future forever. Daniel Pascal refused to give up on finding his father. He expanded the search across the city, hiring more investigators and asking hospitals, shelters, and police stations for any information. Despite every effort, no one could tell him where Charles had gone. News of Charles' disappearance spread quickly, but every lead turned out to be false. As the days passed, Daniel became more worried, fearing his father might be in serious danger. Even with all his wealth and influence, he felt helpless. Meanwhile, Charles continued recovering in Jennifer's small hut, completely unaware that his son was searching for him day and night. Jennifer simply believed she was helping an elderly man in need, never suspecting the truth about his identity. As Charles regained his strength, he and Jennifer spent more time talking each evening after she returned from work. Jennifer shared her dreams of building a better life through honest work, while Charles admired her courage and gentle heart. Her kindness reminded him that true character is measured by compassion, not wealth. Charles quietly noticed the sacrifices Jennifer made every day. She often skipped meals to ensure he had enough to eat and never complained about her hardships. Deeply touched, he promised himself that he would one day repay her kindness, though he still chose not to reveal who he was. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, but unknown to them, danger was drawing closer. Someone had finally discovered a clue about Charles' whereabouts, and it would soon put Jennifer's peaceful life at risk. One evening, while Jennifer was returning from work, she noticed two unfamiliar men asking people in her neighborhood about an elderly man. Their questions were vague, but their behavior made her uneasy. She quietly entered her hut without drawing attention and told Charles to stay indoors until she understood what was happening. The strangers returned the next day, watching the area from a distance before leaving without saying a word. Jennifer couldn't shake the feeling that they were searching for someone important. Although she didn't know who Charles really was, she became determined to protect him until he was fully recovered. As night fell, the mysterious men disappeared, leaving behind more questions than answers. Jennifer sensed that something bigger was unfolding, unaware that a shocking truth was about to come much closer to her doorstep. The next evening, Jennifer returned home to find a folded note placed just outside her hut. Looking around, she saw no one. Curious and uneasy, she picked it up and slowly opened it. The message contained only one sentence: "The old man with you is in grave danger. Trust no one." There was no name, no signature, and no clue about who had left it. Jennifer read the note several times, trying to understand its meaning. She immediately checked on Charles, who was resting peacefully inside, completely unaware of the warning. Unsure whether the message was a cruel prank or a genuine attempt to help, Jennifer decided not to tell him. Instead, she quietly became more cautious, keeping the doors locked and watching everyone who came near her hut. That night, Jennifer could barely sleep. Every sound outside made her anxious, and she couldn't stop wondering who knew about Charles' presence. Little did she know, the truth behind the mysterious warning was far greater than she could have imagined, and the biggest revelation of her life was drawing near. The following morning, Charles looked much healthier and stronger than before. As he sat outside the hut for some fresh air, he suddenly noticed a passing luxury car and seemed unusually distracted. For a brief moment, fragments of his memory began to return, but he still couldn't remember everything. Jennifer noticed the change and gently asked if anything was wrong, but Charles simply smiled and said he was trying to remember his past. Later that day, Jennifer became curious about the old man she had rescued. His polite manners, calm confidence, and knowledge of business and life seemed very different from those of an ordinary traveler. Although she respected his privacy, she couldn't help wondering who he really was and why strangers appeared to be searching for him. As evening approached, Charles remembered one important detail: his surname was Pascal. Before he could recall anything else, the sound of approaching vehicles echoed through the quiet neighborhood. Jennifer stepped outside to see what was happening, unaware that the long-awaited truth had finally arrived at her doorstep. Jennifer stepped outside and was stunned to see several black vehicles stopping in front of her small hut. Well-dressed security officers quickly surrounded the area, and moments later, a young man stepped out of the lead car. With tears in his eyes, he rushed past everyone and called out, "Father!" Charles slowly walked out of the hut, and the moment he saw the young man, his memories came rushing back. "Daniel," he whispered before embracing him tightly. Jennifer stood frozen in shock as she watched the emotional reunion. It was then that Daniel Pascal, the billionaire CEO, turned to her and gratefully explained that the elderly man she had rescued was his missing father, Charles Pascal, whom the entire city had been searching for. Overwhelmed by the truth, Jennifer realized she had unknowingly saved the life of one of the most influential men in the country. Daniel thanked her sincerely for her compassion and promised that neither he nor his father would ever forget what she had done. Little did Jennifer know, this remarkable act of kindness was about to open the door to a completely new chapter of her life. The next day, Daniel returned to Jennifer's hut with Charles and a few trusted staff members. Wanting to repay her kindness, Daniel presented her with a generous financial reward. To everyone's surprise, Jennifer politely declined, explaining that she had only helped a man who needed saving and never expected anything in return. Charles was deeply moved by her honesty. He told Daniel that people with hearts like Jennifer's were rare and deserved respect above wealth. Instead of forcing the reward on her, Charles invited Jennifer to visit the Pascal family estate, saying he wanted to thank her properly and give her an opportunity to build a better future through her own abilities. Although Jennifer was hesitant, she eventually accepted the invitation out of respect for Charles. As she prepared to step into a world completely different from her own, she had no idea that someone from her painful past was already planning to take advantage of her newfound connection to the Pascal family. News of Jennifer's connection to the Pascal family spread quickly, eventually reaching Cecilia. Realizing Jennifer was now associated with one of the wealthiest families in the country, Cecilia suddenly appeared at her hut, pretending to be a caring stepmother who had been worried all along. Jennifer remained calm as Cecilia apologized and begged for forgiveness, claiming she had made terrible mistakes. Although her words sounded sincere, Jennifer could sense that Cecilia's sudden change of heart was driven by greed rather than genuine remorse. She refused to let the past cloud her judgment. Watching from a distance, Charles and Daniel realized Jennifer had endured far more pain than they had imagined. They quietly decided to protect her from anyone who wished to take advantage of her kindness, knowing that Cecilia's unexpected return was only the beginning of a new challenge. After witnessing Jennifer's character, Charles offered her an opportunity to work with the Pascal Foundation, helping organize community outreach programs. Jennifer accepted with gratitude and approached every task with the same honesty and dedication she had shown as a cleaner. She treated everyone equally, regardless of their status, quickly earning the respect of the staff. Wanting to know if her kindness was genuine, Charles and Daniel quietly observed how she handled responsibility. Jennifer never abused her position, never asked for special treatment, and always gave credit to others for their hard work. Her humility convinced them that her compassion came from her heart, not from a desire for wealth or recognition. By the end of the project, Charles proudly told Daniel that Jennifer had already proven herself through her actions. Daniel couldn't help but admire her strength and sincerity, unaware that his growing respect for her was slowly turning into something much deeper. As Jennifer continued working with the Pascal Foundation, she and Daniel spent more time together overseeing charity projects and community events. Daniel admired her compassion and humility, while Jennifer saw a kind and respectful man behind the image of a powerful billionaire. Their conversations became more natural, and a genuine friendship began to grow. Charles quietly noticed the bond between them and was pleased to see how happy they were in each other's company. Neither Jennifer nor Daniel rushed their feelings, choosing instead to build trust through honesty and shared experiences. The more time they spent together, the stronger their admiration for one another became. One evening, after a successful charity event, Daniel thanked Jennifer for changing not only his father's life but his own as well. Jennifer smiled warmly, unaware that their growing closeness was about to face its greatest challenge. Daniel's business rivals realized that Jennifer had become important to the Pascal family and decided to use her to hurt them. They secretly spread false rumors and tried to pressure Jennifer into signing fake documents that could damage the company's reputation. Jennifer refused, sensing that something was wrong. When Daniel learned about the scheme, he immediately launched an investigation. With the help of his legal team, the truth was uncovered, exposing the people behind the plot before any harm could be done. Jennifer's honesty played a key role in preventing the conspiracy from succeeding. The failed plan only strengthened the trust between Jennifer and the Pascal family. As the danger passed, Daniel realized he could no longer hide his feelings, knowing the time had come to tell Jennifer what she truly meant to him. After the conspiracy was exposed, those responsible faced justice, and Cecilia's lies and greed were finally revealed. Realizing she could no longer manipulate Jennifer or benefit from the Pascal family, she left in disgrace. Jennifer chose to move forward with her life instead of holding on to anger. Charles publicly honored Jennifer for saving his life, calling her the daughter he never had. Surrounded by family, friends, and employees, he thanked her for proving that true kindness comes from the heart, not from wealth. Jennifer was deeply touched, knowing she had finally found the love and acceptance she had longed for. As the celebration came to an end, Daniel asked Jennifer to take a walk with him in the garden. Looking into her eyes, he knew there was one question that would change both of their lives forever. As they walked through the garden, Daniel stopped beneath the evening lights and confessed that he had fallen in love with Jennifer. He told her that her kindness, strength, and honesty had inspired him from the day he learned she had saved his father. With a smile and tears of joy, Jennifer admitted that she had also grown to love him. Daniel then asked her to marry him, and she happily accepted. Months later, family and friends gathered to celebrate their beautiful wedding. Charles proudly watched Jennifer walk down the aisle, grateful that the young woman who had once rescued him from the roadside had become part of the Pascal family. The ceremony was filled with laughter, love, and hope for the future. Jennifer's journey from a poor orphan to a beloved member of the Pascal family became an inspiration to many. She never forgot the hardships she had faced and continued helping those in need alongside Daniel. Their story proved that a single act of kindness can change a life forever, and sometimes it can lead to a future beyond imagination. And that brings us to the end of today's story. The world of luxury often hides stories deeper than what meets the eye. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating stories on Luxury True Life Stories. Until our next story, take care and stay tuned for more.
The moral lesson for this story is that kindness, giving without expecting a reward, can change lives. And honesty, perseverance, and compassion are always rewarded. So I hope you learned something from this story. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for my next story. Thank you for watching.